Okay, today we're doing Color Theory 2, which we're going to learn about color schemes. And we'll need our most helpful tool, which will be the color wheel. And what we're going to learn about color schemes for Color Theory 2 is we're going to use our the last project that we used, which was tint, tone, and shade. That color scheme is called monochromatic. Chromatic meaning color, chroma color, mono meaning one. So if you've taken one color and you've added tint, tone, and shade to the last project, you'll understand this project even better because that means that you've done a monochromatic color scheme already. So this should be easy for you for one of the color schemes, but you are going to do 4 color schemes. Now let's go over those color schemes on this color wheel. As you can see, we have the full color wheel all the way around here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to learn about 4 different colors. Now, since we learned about the monochromatic, tint, tone, and shade, let's move on to complementary. Complementary colors are opposite on the color wheel. So let's take this color. This color is green. If we go the opposite of green, what do we get? Red. Opposite of red is green. Opposite of green is red. And that means they are complementary colors. Think about Christmas colors. Now there is 2 more sets of complementary colors. Let's turn over here. And we have the blue. What is the opposite of blue? What's the opposite of blue? Orange. Orange is the opposite of blue, and the opposite of orange is blue on the color wheel. We call those complementary colors again because they're opposite on the color wheel. Let's turn again to the point where we get here to purple. Now, on the color wheel in art, we call it violet. It's the same thing as purple. So we move down opposite, and what do we get? Yellow. Yellow is the complement of purple, and purple is the complement of yellow. Okay? So those are the 3 sets of complementary colors. You can use any complementary set meaning 2, so yellow, violet, or purple. We can use red or green like Christmas, or we can use blue and orange, kind of like the Bears, the football team, blue and orange. They're complementary colors. So we use those type of colors to help us do the complementary color scheme. Now we have another color scheme, which is called analogous colors. Now, analogous colors are colors that are side by side on the color wheel. They are right next to each other in regards to brother and sister. They are analogous. So in other words, let's take green. Here's green, blue-green, and blue. These 3 would be analogous colors. Okay? So let's turn around and we have blue-violet, violet, and red-violet. We can also say blue-purple, purple, and red-purple. But I'll just call it violet. Analogous colors. If you've ever worked with crayons, you know that red, orange, and orange, those are analogous colors. These are colors that are by each other on the color wheel, right on the small color wheel here. Analogous. 3 of them in a row are analogous. 4 in a row are analogous. Okay? No more than that. All right? And so the next one that we're going to go through is tertiary. Now, tertiary creates a triad. What is a triangle? A triangle has 3. It goes like this, and it has 3 sides, right? Tertiary means that it's 1 primary and 1 secondary mixed together, okay? So 1 primary and 1 secondary mixed together. So tertiary colors would be, say, for example, 1 primary. What's a primary color? Blue, yellow, creates a triangle, and red. Creating a triangle is a triad. It creates a triangle. So blue, down to yellow, down to red. That's primary colors. You can use your primary colors as a triad. Okay? Now, let's say that you were to go ahead and mix a primary red. Let's get the primary red here. Here's the primary red. All right? And and you combined it with another primary, yellow, right? Red and yellow make what? A secondary color. Orange, secondary color. Green, because in order to make green, you need to make yellow and blue to make green. What about purple? What makes purple? Blue and red make purple. Blue and red make purple. So these are ones that you should know. Okay? All right. What if you mixed one primary like red, okay, and one secondary like orange? You get a what? A tertiary called red-orange. And we label it just like that because it's part red and it's part orange. That's a tertiary. So you're going to pick out 4 color schemes. And the 4 color schemes, I can pick them out for you. And I would say that for those color schemes, here's a color scheme one. Designers use color schemes all the time. Okay? All right. You might try a triad, which makes a triangle. You might do an intermediate color like yellow-orange, which would be a tertiary. Opposites on the color wheel, which are complementary. Primary colors, secondary colors. Okay? So what I'm going to suggest, you can do monochromatic, you can do analogous, complementary, and one of your choice, okay? Which could be a triad or a tertiary. Let's begin the design. We'll begin right now. The first thing that you're going to create is a counterchange design like I have up here. And I'm going to show you how to create that. The first thing that you're going to do when creating that design is that I'm going to block out part of this so you can see what I'm talking about if I can get it blocked out. I'm going to use my notebook here. Let's block this out down here. Do you see this square up here? It has shapes and it has line, okay? So let me bring this up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better, okay? Okay, there. Do you see that? Okay, it has line and shape. Do you notice how far apart the shapes are? They don't touch each other. There's no scribble scrabble. There's shapes, so you need to have at least 3 to 4 shapes. You need to have at least 3 to 4 lines. So let me begin here to show you what I'm talking about when I say that you need line. Okay? This is a line. These are lines. This is a shape. Okay? These are lines. The heart is a shape. And I want them spread out. I do not want any scribble scrabble, whole bunch of lines crisscrossing. We want to keep them separate. All right? That is for patterning because we're going to create a counterchange design. If you get really complicated in here, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be frustrated and it's not going to work out for you. So make it simple and clear like this. This is free form shape, you know, more geometric, doesn't matter. Right now we haven't gone into the shape unit yet, but you can create some designs. Now, once you create this one square, I'm going to give you tracing paper. And your tracing paper will be this big. It's going to be a square tracing paper, okay? And you're going to trace that design. So what I've done up here is I have taken this and I have traced that design with pencil lead. You must trace it in pencil lead, okay? Must trace it in pencil lead. So the carbon comes off when you do the counterchange design. So after I get it traced onto tracing paper, I'm going to take the first upper right-hand corner right here, and I'm going to trace that design. Then I'm going to flip it downward. So watch me flip it downward. I'm going to flip it down, and I'm going to line it up, okay, with the lines lining up, and I'm going to retrace it, okay? Now I'm going to trace it over. The carbon pigment of the pencil will come off on the paper, as you see right here. Then I'm going to flip it again, okay? Now, you're probably wondering, how do I get 4 squares in here? Let me back up. You can see I folded my paper twice to get 4 squares. I meant to tell you that earlier. Okay? So you're going to fold your paper into 4 squares. Put it down, create your design in the 1 square. Trace it, flip it down, trace it again. The carbon will come off. Now you're going to trace it going, or you're going to flip it going this way. So I'm going to flip it this direction and line it up again. I'm going to line this up like this, okay? So that I can trace it again, okay? And the carbon will come up. Now you're going to trace it going back up. So you've got to flip it this way. And do you see a star forming? Now, the carbon will come off real lightly. That means you'll have to, either you can go over it again if you want to, but you don't have to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this, but I got to put my foot on here, and I'm going to show you. This is plain, but I'm adding up the lines right here for my tracing, for my counterchange design. See how that comes off? Okay? And I'm lining it up here. And you can kind of put a lot of lead on your pencil and go over it. Go over it a couple times. Line it up, kind of go over that line so that lead on the other side comes off on that paper. And it's going to be light, but press down a little bit, okay? But don't do so much pressing that you tear the paper, okay? Now, once I go over every line, I will be done with my counterchange design. Notice that I'm trying to trace it by getting the carbon off on there. Okay, this is what tracing paper is good for. As you know that you can see through it, and it also transfers the carbon. Okay. All right, so we got a carbon transfer here. I think I'm almost done, but see, my lines have to line up with the other one down here. So we want to make sure that it's all lined up. Okay? And it'll come off. Do you see that? I just did the last one. So you can see that we have an overall design with a star. Now, don't worry, it's going to be light. If you're really worried about it, I think I didn't do this line. I can just connect it, okay? Or go over some of your lines if you want to, real lightly in pencil. Not a problem. We just need an outline to do the painting and to do our color schemes. So let me back this up so you can see it here. Okay, this is a counterchange design. You created it from this one, flipped it over. So let's go over this again. You folded your paper 4 times and unfolded it. So you have 2 creases right here, okay? You're going to do a design up here that has 4 to 5 shapes and about 3 to 4 lines. These are lines. These are shapes. Shapes are enclosed, but they might go off the page. Now, I would like you to do at least 2 on each side that are going off the page. Okay? Can you see this one going off the page? You see this line going off the page? I want at least 2. Okay, they can be included in your numbers, okay? And then we're going to go over the tracing. I'm going to give you tracing paper. And you are going to trace. Let's see, it went like this. And you traced it for the first time. You flipped it downward. So we're going to go down here and we're going to match up the lines. Match it up. Trace it again. The carbon will come off from the first tracing. Trace it this way, flip it this direction. And you'll know how to flip it because you'll start seeing it interconnecting. That's why I want your lines going off the edge of the page so that they can interconnect. If you had just shapes in there, all you're going to do is get a bunch of shapes. And it's not going to have enough lines to interconnect. And then this one goes this direction. So we flip it up and over to connect that. Okay? That's called a counterchange design. Now we have 4 squares still. And what we're going to do with the 4 squares is we are going to paint each in a different color scheme. Now, let's say the first one can be monochromatic, and I'll have a map drawn out for you. First one up here, and this is what I want you to do, is put a number 1. And on the back of your paper, you're going to put number 1, you're going to put monochromatic. Number 2, you're going to put analogous. Number 3, you're going to do complementary. And number 4, you're going to have a choice. Can you see that? Can you guys see where I put the 4 down there? Okay, right down here. You're going to do either triad, which makes a triangle on the color wheel, like primary colors, or secondary colors are a triad. Or if you want to be a little bit more advanced, you can do tertiary. Okay? But only if you want to go that route. Okay? So let's go ahead here. And while I begin, we're going to go ahead here with the painting part of it. So monochromatic is tint, tone, and shade. So I'm going to skip number 1 and go to number 2. And number 2 would be analogous, and 3 would be complementary. Monochromatic, of course, is adding white, adding gray, and adding black to a color, and that'll be your first one up here. So say, for example, if you did this all in blues, be light blue, medium blue, and dark blue, original color blue. 2 analogous. The analogous colors here that we have will be side by side. So if you need some help with this, let me know, okay? So we're going to do some of these and kind of get it to where you have it down. And then, all right, so we're going to go here, and I'm going to paint really quick here. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to do one, only one, so that you can understand here. Do like a red, I think. A red. So let's say that I paint this red, and I'm going to paint this red, okay? And I'm only going to paint within the square, okay? I'm only going to paint within the square, okay? Okay. Now, say that I wanted, on here, if I do red, I can do red-orange. So I'm going to add, so if I want a red-orange, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add red and orange together. And I'm going to blend them in to get more of a red-orange. So red-orange would be, yeah, I need to add a little bit more orange. You're going to have to do some color mixing. Okay? This is more of a red-orange. Let's say that I do this in red-orange. Okay? Okay. Then when you're done with that, all right, I just want that one red-orange. Well, maybe I'll add a little bit of some more red-orange over here. Sometimes you can change your mind too. Let's say that I just want this red-orange. Okay, because I need a little red-orange. See what I'm doing? I'm balancing it out. So I have red-orange here. I'm going to put red-orange here. Red, red. You know what? I might even decide to do the heart in red. Okay. Let's make this heart in red. We'll make that in red. Notice I'm only staying within this square. Okay. You want to stay within that square. All right. Now, we've done red and red-orange. It looks like a dark orange. Now we're going to do the next one. And the next one would be, we have red, red-orange, and then now orange. So we are going to be good with this. So we're going to put an orange in there. And I want my orange to be here. And I want it to go down here. It's a lighter orange, but it's orange nonetheless. Okay. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to paint this in that kind of that orange. Okay. We can go back to the red-orange and decide to reuse that if we want to do our last shape. Okay. And we are almost about done with this. Now, what I want to do is I want to take this part and I want to do the background. Okay. Do the background. Now, I split this in half, so that means that I can do one point of the background in this color, more of an orange. And the other side can be red or another part of the orange. But let's just see here. When we do this, though, notice this kind of blends in a little bit. Okay. So we're learning about our color schemes. All right. So every part of this I want painted. Now, if you want to add a little white to it, like if you want a white part of the white background, talk to me first. Because I'd rather you work with the entire color scheme. Okay. I'm alternating where my colors will go. Okay. All right. And I'm going to make this one red. Okay. I'm very quiet right now because I'm just focused on getting this in these colors here. And this is going to take some concentration, that you need to just pay attention to where you're painting, and going where you need to go for your colors. These are so close together. These colors are so close together. It's going to be hard for you to do the analogous, some of you, because they're just so close together, but they are like almost like a monochromatic. Okay, but they are close together. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do complementary. And let's just do complementary down here. We have it, and we're going to do the purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the purple down here. I'm going to show you. We're going to deal with this square. Don't be painting over your squares, okay? Try to keep yourself from doing that, okay? And I'm going to paint this purple as well. So I'm painting in this shape in purple, okay? All right. So, and while I'm doing that, I'm thinking of any other place. I'm going to make the heart purple up here. Not this heart, but this heart down here. Okay. Purple. All right. And I'm probably going to do this one purple. I'm going to do this purple. I'm going to make this one really simple for you. If you decide to do orange and blue or red and green for your complementary, totally acceptable. Because those are complementary colors. So choose a complementary color scheme. Okay? You're going to be tempted to cross that square line, so just keep it focused on the one. All right? Didn't mean to bump that. Let's move this out a little bit so you can see. Okay? Can you see that okay? I don't know if you can see the bottom part of it or not. There we go. You can see this a little bit better here. And then I'm just going to take this. Okay? So this is pretty much all in purple. Basically, all my shapes and lines are colored in purple. Okay? So, what's the opposite of purple? Yellow. The opposite on the color wheel is your complementary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the complement of purple, which is yellow. So the background of this is going to be painted in yellow. Now this yellow is difficult to work with because you really have to wait for your paint to dry. So I'm going to just go in between where there's no purple because yellow is really a weak color. Okay? And I do want you to color it in all the way. I'm not going to color it in all the way because my purple is still wet. Okay? But I'm going to show you this whole part is going to be colored in yellow. Okay? This is all going to be colored yellow. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to finish it to make it full. Okay? And that's what I'm going to ask you to do the same. That would be complementary colors. Okay? Now, the next one is a triad. So, red, yellow. I'm going to do red, yellow, blue. So, let's say we do blue. I want blue down here. And I'm going to match it up with this. And I'm going to do the blue here. Okay. That's going to be our triad. Because the triad is in a triangle on the color wheel. Okay. So I'm going to use blue. This is not a real cobalt blue like it should be. But it is blue nonetheless. So I'm using this right now instead of a brighter blue. This is a softer blue. And that's the way you're going to go. Okay. I'm going to do a blue heart too. Your heart is red, your heart is blue. Either way. All right. So it's time for me to go to another color outside of blue. Let's try it. What's the other color? I'm going to do red. Make sure you wash your brushes off. Okay. And I'm going to make this red. Okay. And I'm going to make this red. Triad colors. Okay. Triad colors. All right. So when I get this all done, each square should have a different color scheme. Okay. And that's the way it should be. Now, this looks very patriotic with red, white, and blue. Okay. But we're gonna do our formal triad here. So let's get this cleaned up and let's do the yellow. Okay. And the yellow is gonna be in this side of the background. I'm gonna have the yellow. Okay. But I want to show you the options that you have. This is all going to be painted in yellow. But since yellow is such a weak color, I'm not going to do it all the way, okay? All right, so we're going to do that. All right, and then I'm going to paint this side. Since this is yellow in the background, I don't want a double yellow. I can do a double yellow if I wanted to, but I can do this more in a brighter blue. It would still be considered a triad. If I did do it in yellow, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to come across like this. You're going to have double yellow. Okay? Which is, there's nothing wrong with it, but to give it a little bit more variety, I would split my colors into different colors. So in other words, let me show you. If you're going to split off from the yellow, all right, into, like, let's say, I'm going to do a lighter blue. Let's say I'm just going to do a lighter blue. Because that would still be kind of a triad. It's just another form of the color. This is going to bring more contrast, okay? A little bit more. You can also do pink. Because that would be more triadic. It's just using a variation of tint, tone, and shade of the same color. Okay? So you can do that. And go in between here and get your painting in that way. Okay? So I'm not trying to keep you from not doing something diverse, but you want contrast. In art, contrast is a big deal. So when you're thinking these things out, it takes some brain skills to think about, okay, do I really want a double yellow down there? No. We want some variety. And that's another principle of art, variety. So we want to make sure, and when you're mixing color, you're going to have to match it up, okay? Match it up as much as possible. Now up here I said monochromatic, and we went over monochromatic, so I'm not going to paint that right now. But I want you to see, and I'll finish painting this in yellow. You are to paint it in fully, okay? That's your project. But that is the different color schemes. Now, I said monochromatic, analogous, complementary, and triad or tertiary. Now, do you have to do them in this order? No, you do not have to do them in this order, but you have to include the 4. I don't care if you do monochromatic down here, and then do analogous here, and then complementary up here, and triadic up there. It doesn't matter, but you have to have the 4 color schemes. So when I look at your project, now this one was really painted in well. I expect these 2 to be filled in. I haven't quite filled them in. That's because the paint's wet. So I expect you to do that, and it'll form a design. See the star beginning to form? That's what you're going to have, and you're going to know your color schemes. Okay? That ends project color theory 2. Okay? All right.